Hello and welcome to the Brett Tiffy podcast. I'm here with Garett Buehler, legend from the Kootenays and hardcore mountain biker, former pro mountain biker back in the day, a trail builder, and also a wicked skier and a mountain man. Comes from a mountain background. And we're sitting here in Derek Westerland's man cave, man building, man garage. And we're going to sit down and have a talk about biking. It's bigger than my house too, I know, right? This place is insane. It's awesome.
Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you too. We're here on a very snowy section of winter.
Insane.
You just took a trip across the lake with your boat to come and have a word with me?
Yeah, just another day on grow, man.
Yeah. It's a bit of adventure. You're out there where you live, eh?
Oh yeah, it's a bit of an adventure every day, but I tell you, I've never seen this kind of snow in Nelson.
Yeah. Like it snowed what, 65, 70, 85 centimeters?
Like on Groma, I honestly think it was like 80 one morning. I came out, I was just like, what's going on?
Whoa.
I've never seen it like this. And then just keeps coming. And you're like,
yeah,
you can't even get out of the house.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So for those of you who know Garett Buehler, you know that he's like a big air maestro, wild man, big mountain rider. He's been in some Kranked movies. He's been in Where the Trail Ends for Freeride Entertainment. And we used to be teammates with SR Suntour suspension. And you rode a lot with Dorfling. You guys teamed up for a lot of projects.
Oh, yeah.
And you've done like 4 rampages. And
Sammy.
Done a lot of TV shows, stunned and stuff. Yeah. But, you've been around a long time. And, and
30 years.
30 years in a row. But, you're doing more trail building now than chasing the pro mountain bike thing, just because, it's a tough way to make a living out there. And
yeah, there's definitely easier ways to make money.
Yeah, right. And stay healthy and whatnot. But, you've been around the block, and it's an honor to have you here. So
thanks for having me.
Let's go back to the beginning. I thought you were Kootenay born and raised, but you're originally from Alberta.
No.
Hinton, was it not?
I was born in Hinton.
You're born in Hinton.
But we lived in Valemont.
Oh, okay.
It was just the closest hospital.
Yeah, fair enough.
Valemont was even smaller back then. There was no bike park or anything.
Yeah.
Really.
Just a lot of big
logging
mountains.
Town, right?
Yeah. Lots of big mountains.
Mount Robson's right there.
So you were there because your dad was a mountain legend. He was a...
Back in the day, yeah. He was a bit of a mountain guide,
you
could say.
And he worked with the legendary Hans Moser. Was it CMH?
CMH, yeah. So he was kind of one of the first guides.
CMH stands for Canadian Mountain Holidays?
That's correct, yeah.
And they have like heli ski operations like in their...
I think there's 12 all over
big time.
BC, yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
Like a multi-million dollar operation.
But it was started small, and like my dad was kind of in there right at the beginning. Like,
With Hans Moser.
He came over from Switzerland, and then I don't know what year that would have been, but he would have been like pretty young, 22 maybe, and kind of already a mountain guide back in Switzerland. So
your dad or Hans Moser?
My dad.
Yeah.
Well, he came from Austria, but he was a little older than my dad.
Oh, okay.
He was kind of starting the whole thing, and then my dad kind of showed up at the right time.
Yeah. And he was like already a qualified mountain guide, and then took all those skills into the Canadian mountains. Yeah,
I think like even in Switzerland they got to do like military.
Yeah.
Everybody, I think it's kind of like 6 months when you turn 18.
Yeah.
And you can choose to do like the mountain. There's a story, he never told me this, maybe he didn't want me to know. Apparently it was like in the sniper division.
Okay.
But they were like climbing a lot, so you get a lot. So I think that's kind of where he started. Plus like you're around the Eiger and the Matterhorn. Like he lived right in Interlaken, kind of where he grew up.
Yeah. Big
mountains and mountaineering culture. So
yeah. And was your mom from the mountains too, or where was she from?
No, she's from Montreal actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then she moved around lots as a kid, but I don't know. Seems like everyone wants to come out west, right?
Yeah, right. Totally. So like Hans Moser, who your dad worked for, and Mike Wheelie were like the 2 pioneers of heli skiing. Like they
for sure.
Those 2 brought it to the world.
For sure.
And so your dad was like guiding for CMH, and probably has skied more mountains than most people even have.
He might have the more vertical than anyone. Like there's a chance. I don't know.
Or definitely on the podium,
Yeah,
or top 10 in the world at least for sure.
potentially Heli, but you know, with a helicopter.
Probably, yeah. Like
It would be wild to know, but
it'd be an interesting number. I wonder how much vertical we have on the bikes. Like if you had a little
not
magic.
that much.
yeah, not as much as your dad. Like holy.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, so I think he guided till he was like 68 or so.
Oh wow. So you come from a mountain background. Was your dad a mountain biker too, or did you take that all on your own, the biking?
I mean, he like mountain biking. Like he saw it probably the first mountain bike. You know, it wasn't really a thing when he was a kid.
Yeah. Oh, like.
But he had like I remember he had like a Rocky Mountain Thin Air.
Yeah.
Like that purple.
Okay.
And he'd go cross country riding in Valemont and stuff, and we started racing a bit as kids.
You were racing?
Well, my brother was pretty into cross country racing. My cousin in Jasper there.
Yeah.
So I remember going to those races. I was still kind of too young, but kind of getting exposed to it.
Yeah.
And then started seeing movies like Kranked 1 and 2 and skidding down sand lines and stuff, building bridges, and just like, yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Like, I like that.
For sure. And it was a lot like skiing, right? And
So you knew who Brett Tippy was as a kid. That's cool to know.
Oh, yeah. Brett Tippy is like first guy to ever hit a 30-footer.
25-footer.
No, it was like 36 is what we were calling it. As kids, for sure.
I think the only thing biggest I tried was probably like 32 feet, just a little bit over 30 feet. And I didn't stop it clean. Yeah,
but I remember you'd like hop into them sometimes.
Yeah, totally.
It was pretty like, who's that skier? Scott Schmidt style.
Yeah,
sick.
Totally. Yeah, OGs, man, OGs.
Totally.
So you saw these films, you said, I like that, and then you started riding, you know, but then you moved to the Kootenays at what time? Were you doing this in the Kootenays?
Riding?
Yeah. Or was it still in Valemont when you saw Cranked and stuff?
Still in Valemont, for sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and like, well, Sam Brown and like Casey, they kind of became our good friends because they were up in Blue River.
Yeah.
Their family's like related to the Wigleys, right? So we kind of all met as super young kids, and Sam was like so into biking. So he was a big influence too, and he was like right into the movies. And
Sam Brown, for those who don't know, was like ahead of his time, I would say.
And trail building, like stuff, like crafting crazy stuff, like at a young age, and building some of the most legendary trails, like on Caslow, the Monsters. Like he built that when he was probably like 14, like almost.
He built the Monster when he was 14.
The kid's insane.
Is that like a 4,000 foot descent or something?
It's I can tell it, but yeah, it's mega for sure.
Yeah, the Monster. Yeah, I rode that with Simmons, and it was definitely a monster. My forearms were burning.
And there's some gnarly lines, like some stupid steeps. It's like you can't stop them. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, you're committed.
Yeah,
that's cool. So, and Casey Brown, she must have like.
Yeah, I mean, I've known Casey since we were.
She's a legend.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah,
totally.
That's awesome. So that was in Valemont. When did you move to the Kootenays?
I don't know year. I was like 11.
Yeah.
We'd come down a bit. Like my parents found this property here that we're still in, and it was like super cheap, and it was a cool place, you know, boat access. Like, and it was just came up, and and they kind of snagged that, I think, before we even moved here.
Yeah.
So I think it was kind of like talking about moving to the Kootenays, but you know, family kind of split up at one, you know, and I think it was time to get on a Valemont small town. Mom was like, you know, God life's kind of hard on the family life sometimes.
When you're from Montreal, you're
and now you're in Valemont, and you're like, you know, the lodge was like a social scene, but it's also like rich Heli guests, and it is what it is, right? Like,
yeah, it's like.
And you're growing up in that as a kid is maybe not like the best thing for little kids full time. Like,
gives them a skewed perception of the world.
Kind of, yeah, for sure. Like almost, you know. Still a problem, maybe. But like for sure, like so Nelson was like, we had family down here, and we were like, good place, a little more bigger schools.
Yeah.
Mom thought it'd be better for us, kind of thing.
Okay.
But it's a cool town. Like I loved it. Like still do, but like, you know, like I remember moving here in Nelson for sure being like, this place is sweet. Like,
yeah.
There's lots going on, lots of people to like ride with, and lots of trails, and
So what bike were you riding when you came here? What?
Oh, what would I have been on? I think I had like a Rocky Mountain Cardiac.
Okay.
With like a Judy.
Hardtail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like
The
wheelie
G.
dropping, like, you know, whatever, finding like the biggest wheelie drops you can do kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then there's lots of sick urban around town. Like, well, I mean, you guys did I remember Crank 3, man.
Yeah.
And you hit that gap behind Sacred.
Yeah.
So we'd go like hit that. So that was like a pretty big gap.
Yeah.
Especially when you're like pretty
When
little
you're
kid.
this
You know, like,
tall.
and you have to stop. And it was like, there's some gnarly like urban stuff. And like, it's pretty easy to access as a kid.
Yeah.
Just bombing around the streets.
I remember doing that gap. You'd have to go through, you know, the yard and then across the alley.
Yeah.
And
You have to like have a car spotter because like.
Yeah, totally, because it was blind.
Totally.
And so I did it a bunch of times, and I nailed it over and over and over. And then on one of the last times, they wanted me to do it, and then like at the end of the yard, there's like a little, you know, 2 foot, 3 foot wheelie drop off a stone wall.
Yeah.
But they wanted me to turn right out of it, so I was like, okay. And there's a bunch of grass there, and so I did the step down, went across the grass, and I went to wheelie drop off the 2-3 foot wall, and there was a rock I didn't see in the grass, and it kicked my front wheel out. And then I almost drove my face into the stones, and I stopped probably like 1.5 centimeters from knocking my teeth out.
Yeah, right.
But in the grass, it looked like I smashed my face, and I stood up like, no big deal, because it didn't
As
hurt
you
myself.
do, right?
Yeah, as
You're
you do.
professional.
Yeah, right. But it was close. I almost knocked my teeth out on the final shot, and I was like, "Ooh, that was close."
That was a pretty epic scene. I haven't thought about that for a while.
way back in the day.
And
That was
Sacred Gap just like crawled back in. I was like, oh yeah. That's like kind of like almost early start of like the progression, really.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that was kind of big.
For the day.
For the day, like when you, especially when you're like, we were probably hitting that when. Like it was a big deal as a kid, you know, like Sacred Gap, you know? Like,
Yeah, was it really? Yeah, I love it.
for sure.
It. That's cool.
I mean, it's probably like what, like 12 down, like 15 out, like.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think so. It's across the alley.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
You're
have to get some speed and
I
commit.
don't know if I'd hit that now.
Whatever. I've seen you hit 40 by 40s. What was your first mountain bike? Very first mountain bike. Do you remember?
I know I had this Norco and we had this one like little white bike, it's a classic, but then like I remember we got this Peugeot actually, which is super funny, but like I don't know, I was super young. I guess it was a mountain bike. It had no suspension. And that's so
Rigid front end?
rigid front end. So like it was technically a mountain bike, but this is probably when I was like 7, but like in the sense that's like my first memory of like, oh, I got a mountain bike.
Oh my God.
Which is funny.
Yeah, that's cool. So you're, you know, now riding in the Kootenays and you're in Nelson. There's a lot of good riders here, and it was a strong scene.
For sure.
Who were some of the people that you were riding with when you were riding here? Like, who else was hitting the Sacred Gap with you and stuff?
Well, like even back then, like Sorgy for sure, and I mean Evan Schwartz, and I don't know. There's a slew of guys like Nick Sima, Alex Workin.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of guys kind of doing bigger stuff. Obviously Kinraid, and like there was that kind of older generation like Joe Robbie and Kinraid that were like
Yeah.
everybody
Joe
kind of was
Schwartz,
like
Robbie
those guys
Morgan.
are legends. You know, like they were like the guys to look up to in town for sure.
Yeah. They were the young guys to me.
yeah, for sure.
You were the really young guys.
Yeah, we're,
That's
Totally.
cool though. Like a strong scene though, like a very strong scene, and some very progressive trail building going on here.
yeah, and even Sam for sure. Like he was
And
like
Sam Brown?
Yeah. And then a lot of guys in town. For sure.
Sam was riding. I remember some skinnies where they were so high, and he would like stop on the skinny and then go one-handed and kind of balance there, and then put his hand back on the bar and then keep riding
and like wheeling.
and wheeling on skinnies.
There's this bridge, it's like Gyro Park in town, and it's like just this walking bridge, which is like a 2x4, like that's the handrail. But this thing like goes over this like, I don't know, it's like probably 20 feet.
Oh my God.
And I remember he built this like, because he like stayed with us. We were pretty close to the family. My mom and his mom were pretty tight and stuff.
Yeah.
So anyways, he was like, built this crazy contraption so he could ride up on it. And that's when he started practicing wheeling. And he would wheelie this whole thing like on a Santa Cruz Bullet. And then like he had this whole like, I don't know, he just had the crazy riding style and like vision for building. It was pretty unique.
Yeah.
Especially for like a young kid. You're like, whoa.
Yeah. Like super talented. He would have, if he...
Like I still couldn't like probably do any of the stuff he did.
Yeah. He was ahead of his time, really.
Oh yeah,
You know?
yeah. And like, but a style that's sort of like fade. Like, you know, now everything's like bermed out and flow, and you know, it's kind of almost like for the consumer. Sam was like definitely not like
He's on his own program.
yeah, like Just crazy stuff.
This is what I like, and this is what I'm gonna do.
But still shredding trails. I think he raced downhill and stuff. I remember, and good rider.
Oh, for sure. That's very, very. There's something in those genes because Casey's won downhill races and whip contests forever at Crankworks, and
it's crazy.
She will do dual slalom and do well against racing Jill Kintner and all these fastest girls in the world. She's a contender.
Oh yeah,
she's a ledge,
and like pushing the free ride thing with really there hasn't really been that scene for the female side.
Yeah,
and I definitely feel like Casey's a huge part of making that move forward.
Oh yeah, blowing
which
doors
is
open.
Cool. Yeah.
And she's just so cool,
Totally.
Actually, I ran into her at Revelstoke.
She's kind of like a big sister,
Yeah.
I call her sometimes sister.
Yeah. It's cool. She's
a good friend too.
Sure. Oh man, I rode. She was skiing, I was snowboarding, and we were doing this wasty pattern underneath the chair at Revelstoke. There's nobody around barely, and she was flying on the skis too. And I was like, okay, she's a ripper.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she would have been because we were the youngest in the whole family. So we had to try and keep up with the olders. Yeah. And they were all pretty wild.
Yeah.
My brother and growing up in Valemont, we were free range for sure.
Free range parenting.
Oh yeah, we had a little property, so it was just dirt track everywhere, building traps for people to fall into.
Oh my God.
The old hole, cover it with sticks, dirt, come follow me, trying to.
Really?
Oh yeah,
the tiger pit.
Oh yeah, just torturing each other basically. For sure. Good times though.
I love that.
Yeah.
In Counts growing up, we used to have dirt bomb fights because the clay would dry and there's all those cracked patterns.
Yeah.
And if you knock one out, then you can get your mitts on the other ones. You can pull them out in one piece, and when you throw them, when they hit, they blow up like a little grenade.
Yeah, right.
So we'd have dirt bomb fights.
Oh yeah, that's a good time.
Yeah, it was kind of hardcore, but at least it wasn't
Mom's
rocks.
not looking. For sure.
You probably throwing rocks at each other.
Yeah. Probably happened times. Yeah. Sometimes you snap, right?
Oh my God. So how did the progression go from free riding around and stuff into actually getting sponsored and turn it into a job there for a while? Who was your first sponsor? Who was the first one to pay you?
That's a good question.
Was it SR Suntour?
Probably mongoose bikes, actually.
Mongoose?
Or lizard skins, actually, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think they gave me $1,500 or something. I was
yeah,
I made it.
I'm getting
rich. Totally. I'm getting paid.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But I think it was mainly through the crank stuff,
Yeah.
And Kinraid was for sure a huge part. He was super supportive and invited me along, and I don't know, I was just this little kid.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
The first time you ever came on my radar was, I think it was a Cranks movie, but you were riding down a road, and then you went up there was a cliff that appeared on the left, and you went up onto the hip, or above the cliff, and then you aired off the cliff on a diagonal,
right.
And then gapped the road that you were just on, down to the transition on the right of the road, and it was boom, 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 and it was big, and you were young, and I was like, who the hell is this Garett Buehler guy? What the hell?
Nice.
Where was that out? Was it Kamloops?
No, but dude, it's in Vermeer. I almost don't want to say it. It's an amazing place.
Yeah.
But that's the free ride times too. I feel things it's harder now to go out and spend time and find those nugs,
Yeah.
But that's what we used to do. You just hiking around looking for the best features, and if you find something like that, you're just boom, this thing goes.
Yeah.
It's a dream liner, but it's almost there for you already. Just shave it out. And
yeah.
That's kind of what I was always about, I guess, but it gets hard to maintain. It's a lot of work too, driving around a lot. You don't always find those nugs. That was a major nug.
It just was right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you definitely had to have the eye for it, but it was it wasn't hard to build, and it was just the road was the run in, and it was just boom.
Good speed for it.
Yeah.
It seemed natural.
It was super sweet.
Yeah, because you'd carve left and then kind of carve right,
and then I was Invermere is pretty cool. It's a lot like Kamloops clay down the valley.
Yeah.
But then you've got the Purcells and the Rockies, which I don't know,
goes up into multi 1,000 foot tall peaks on top of the clay.
Yeah, I almost don't want to talk. It's so sad.
It's top secret. The Brett TV podcast does not deserve to know these secrets. Hey, do you know what a secret is? A secret is something you tell one person at a time.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's tough. It's tough in the social media day. You know, people put out their content, and you don't want to blow up the spot. You know, sometimes people put locations where all the stuff they do is, and they blow up the spot.
Yeah,
and it's kind of like, you don't really want to do that. So I never put locations really of
some of the zones too. Like, I don't know, like if there's like some amazing riding zones right up in the Alpine and stuff.
Yeah.
Like if you think of if it like went to what ski touring is now, like in Rogers Pass, it's like, ooh.
Yeah, right.
There's a bit of that too in the back of your mind, and you're like, is this sustainable?
Yeah.
You know what
Right.
I mean? But at the same time, you're like, yeah, it's right there.
Yeah. Oh man.
It's a double edger.
Yeah. So you rode for Lizard Skins and then Mongoose, hooked you up with some bikes, and you're doing that. You're getting some ads and stuff, and getting more and more coverage, getting in the Cranked movies. You're well on your way, you know, as being a rising star in the free ride scene. And
It kind of happened pretty fast. I don't know. It was, like I was pretty young. I was still in high school.
yeah.
Like I wasn't making a lot of money. I never made a lot of money. Let's be honest. What you're saying, there's literally hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, there's literally hundreds of dollars to be made in the mountain bike industry.
But like, yeah, like.
But you're getting flown different places and trips
Yeah, it was
paid
what I
for
wanted to
and
be doing too. Like I
as
wouldn't
many
have
bikes
wanted to
as
be
you could break.
anywhere else in the world when that was going on. You know,
Yeah.
it was like, this is awesome.
You were doing it.
But like, yeah, I guess like Kinraid and then, well, Tam, like, I don't know, we were always filming when then we did like the UFC videos.
Yeah.
Kurt won that year.
Yeah.
I went up against him first
UFC
round.
is
Obviously
ultimate-
got knocked out.
Oh, yeah. Kurt knocked you out?
Yeah. Round one, we're against. He's like, I don't know. I was pretty young. I was only like 12, right? It's
Yeah.
like, oh, but like either way, I made it to the top 16. It was like good press, you know?
It is. The UFC is the Ultimate Free Ride Challenge, and it was a video series put on by Raceface, and it was $10,000 for the best 1 minute video. And
But then they got a bunch of like sponsorships and stuff too. Like you got contracts with Giant at this point, and like Manitou and
Oh,
I
that's
think
right.
Raw
That's right.
Raceface.
Yeah. So Matt Hunter won 1 year. Kurt Sorge won another year.
Yeah, like Wayne Goss.
Wayne
and,
Goss won another year.
Tyler Clausen.
Tyler Clausen won Super
Yeah.
T.
That was like Kickstarter for all those careers.
For all those careers, yeah.
Yeah. So it was like UFC when like I remember I was like 12 and I was like, this is like if you win this thing, like
You're made.
like you're done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What a dream.
I remember.
And then Sorge won it. And it's just like, oh my god.
And how old was he? He was like young like you too.
Yeah, he's like 3 years older than me.
Yeah.
So I think he was like 16 when he won. Still though. Like,
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
I presented a check for UFC at Sea Otter 1 year, and Dangerous Dan wrote the flow show to deliver the check to me on the stage.
Yeah, right.
And it was really windy, and then he rolled the skinny all along, and then it got up to like, I think it was like 15 or 18 feet even, air off the end onto a wooden ramp set up, and it was really windy to get blown out in the wind.
This is at the UFC?
This was the UFC championship check.
Right.
It was at Sea Otter was the presentation, so there was like hundreds of people in the audience.
And you're
as
riding the flow show?
Dangerous Dan was.
Oh, yeah.
And like I'm on stage with the microphone, and the
That's
winner
crazy.
is check out Dangerous Dan. Here he comes with the check, and he had the check in his mouth or something, and he's delivering the check, and as he jumps off the end of it, the big hawk, the wind blew him out, and he kind of got blown sideways, and he just he crashed so hard, and I go, oh, I hope that check doesn't bounce like Dangerous Dan.
Oh, that's good.
Thank you
On
very much.
point.
Like usual. It was really funny.
Dude, the flow show was wild. I remember they came to Nelson actually, and like they let us ride. Like Kinraid was obviously knew those guys, and it was just like all of a sudden we're riding the flow show. You're like 20 feet up on this. Like,
Yeah.
it was crazy, man.
Yeah, it was like
Like
it was 18 feet up above concrete.
Yeah. Well, we luckily were set up over the soccer fields when they.
Oh,
came
so
to
it was
Nelson.
grass if you.
Yeah, it was better,
Way better. Oh my god.
but still wild, you know.
Yeah. Oh.
That was good.
Yeah, my buddy Andrew Baker did that, and there was like a whole bunch of talented riders did the flow show. And Dangerous Dan ended up, being an announcer, but he was the original rider for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
it's
that
cool.
was crazy.
That set up.
I haven't
in
thought
random
of that
places.
in a long time.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
the flow show. I remember Baker would be like so hungover, and he'd go out there and he'd ride these skinnies, and some guys would do backflips, and he'd ride the skinny, and then at the end of it, it went down from like a skinny to a 2x4, and then as it went down in size, there was one that was a sideways 2x4.
Yeah,
which
right.
you know, was a couple inches wide, and then you have to air, you know, like off the end of that.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, that's nuts. That's skinnier than your tire. You know what I mean? Like,
That's crazy.
and he'd do it over and over.
Yeah,
And
why isn't that stuff going on anymore?
Skinnies are not as cool as they used to be.
I got the dream to maybe bring it back, like this project in Nakusp we're working on, building this Mount Abriel zone, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
And but we're always talking, we gotta build like an old G like skinny trail.
Totally.
It'd be so sweet.
Call it tree surfer.
Totally. Yeah, there's something, you know, like
Yeah.
could be cool though.
So
Bring it back, bit of a liability.
yeah, oh my God, you know, some of that stuff is so gnarly. Like, it's just, people don't even know. You know, because it was also raw and new back then, and things are flowier and bigger and badder now in a way, but at the same time, it's all manicured, a lot of stuff.
Well, and everyone was just trying whatever. Like, there's nothing was defined yet.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It was
Now everything is getting like,
little genres, you know?
yeah, yeah. Even we got trails are great, man. We got black trails, blue trails, green trails.
Yeah, right. Totally. Flow trails, tech trails.
Yeah, yeah. North Shore.
You know what you're going to get. And
That's the best.
now-
I think in Europe, I remember like Chatel, they got like the North Shore Trail. It's like such a staple, you know?
Yeah. Oh, the North Shore Trail goes around the world.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, if
It's
you got
cool.
any kind of like skinny,
Totally.
it's a North Shore Trail.
Yeah, yeah.
Wherever you go. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So you're doing these with these guys, and then, you know, you've done some Cranked movies, you've been in the press, in the magazines, were still pretty prevalent back in the day, and then you got the call to go to Rampage. Do you remember when you got the letter, or was it a phone call from Todd Barber? Or how did you go to Rampage? Did you do some building there first?
Well, there was 2008, and it went away for a couple years, so it was like 2008, like, I forget what they call it. It was like the comeback year for Rampage, right?
Yeah, right.
And we had just done this like crank 7.
Yeah.
And it was like pretty big mountain. It's kind of like same zone, like out in Vermeer area.
Yeah.
That we went back to film
Paradise?
recently with TGR there for Accomplice.
Is that-
and yeah.
Yeah.
And so that went pretty good. I mean, all the footage and whatnot.
Who was that? Was that you and Sorgier, or who was you?
Kinraid. Me and Kinraid, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was just me and Kootenay. Yeah. And so then that all came out, and then the Rampage was happening, and it was like, that was kind of the shoe in a bit. Because we were doing like big mountain riding, and like, there wasn't a lot of like free riding. I remember there was a time when like free ride was dead, man.
Well, everything ebbs and flows, right? And it has like it's hills and valleys, and it was in a bit of a valley there.
Yeah, a little bit. Like Rampage went away, and there wasn't a lot of like, there was movies still coming, but you know what I mean. The web wasn't really almost ticking off yet.
No, it's true. Yeah, pre-web.
There was a little bit, you know.
There was movies and magazines. Like we were talking, you have to do so much social media now because it's like a daily thing. Back then, you get a Neural Disorder or Cranked,
Yeah.
and you do a few magazine shoots, you're covered for the year. Now you have to do videos every single day, photos every single day. Like it's like a full-time job, and sometimes it's not always the best riders that make it. It's the guys who can do the social media every day.
Yeah, you got to be willing to put the screen down
To work
like,
at it,
work
right?
at it, and
Yeah.
it's a full-time hustle. And yeah, that was definitely a little bit of a breaking point for me.
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't know if I can keep up with this. Like, you know, growing up in the woods, kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah.
My dad was pretty, like, he was an old dad too, so he was like, we weren't like technologically advanced family, a little behind the times. It's like the social media stuff, but like for sure, half of what like the inspiration was definitely like the movies and like the lifestyle of it all.
Yeah.
And like how that kind of felt like organic almost, you know, like.
Yeah.
And everyone was out working as a team, and like now it's just like, everyone's just out working for their social media a little bit. And you got to do it. It's not a problem really, you know, but it's just.
It is a hustle.
It is a hustle, and it's whether you're willing to do it, you know?
Yeah. So when you were at Rampage, you know, like you did 4 Rampages, did you say you crashed in like 3 of them, and then you stopped a top to bottom run?
Well, the first one, so 2008, I remember I had like, I don't know, I came in and it was like, you got to build, you know, you got to build this Rampage. I like put so much time into building.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were just like riding the ridges kind of.
Yeah.
And then like I had my line, I got it done, but like then it got rained down. We only got one run qualies. It was kind of windy, and I got blowing, and I like screwed up my first round. Like I was never super good in contests. Like definitely the nerves get you.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, like you do that one event. It's like the biggest event. It's like then we're going filming, and like it was cool to kind of have that. But like then all of a sudden you're a Rampage, and you're like a lot of those guys who like racing or doing slope style and have a lot of time to sort of get in that contest.
Headspace,
you know, it's a different headspace.
For sure.
But then yeah, you want to like let the creative flow out, but maybe it's yeah, you can take so many approaches at Rampage, and some of them don't work.
Because it's gnarly, right?
And it's gnarly either way. Every approach is gnarly.
Whether it works or whether it doesn't, it's always gnarly.
Yeah. But yeah, so then I kind of botched it. I didn't make qualies, and then I think next year then that was the Icon Sender.
Oh my God.
So I guinea pigged that. I remember being, and I had that in my line, but then like, I was like pull of the hat, like I was dropped last. I was like 30th.
How big were you dropping? How big was it?
I don't know, like it was pretty big. Like I want to, like definitely 35, 40, probably.
It wasn't 50?
Maybe, that's what they were calling it, but I'm always like, 50. Like it's pretty big, 50.
It was pretty big, right?
Maybe it was 50. Yeah. Try to just keep that like, I want to, like, you know.
Like.
We never measured it. I don't think.
Is that Utah tax or what?
Yeah, but then I think sometimes they'll maybe measure it like
diagonal.
Point to point.
Yeah,
so
right.
that was like 50.
Yeah. So down, it would be like 40.
Yeah, probably, or something. Because it wasn't that far out.
Yeah.
But it was actually, it obviously was a little further. Like
You guinea pigged it? I thought Dorfling guinea pigged it.
That was the next year, because like the first year the Icon came.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
and I remember being up there with Logan Bengali.
Yeah.
And then we both kind of wanted the guinea, and I dropped.
Did you?
Yeah. And then I stuck it, and I think I was like kind of confident. I only hit it once, and I was like, I'll save it for the run. And then I dropped last, and like the wind picked up throughout the whole thing. And then I remember like 2008, I was like, we got rained out. Like maybe I'll get weathered out. This is like my only shot, and I shouldn't have dropped.
Should have waited.
And I like was waiting. I was like in the gate. I remember Aaron was there, and everyone was kind of like, maybe you should wait. And I was like, yeah, but in 2008, like. And then I was like, when I say go, and then I was like, felt a little calm. And as soon as I dropped in, you could feel the wind. And like, I definitely like mentally hesitated too, because I saw the flags, but then also like the wind probably got me, and I just came up way too short. And like, yeah, it was a pretty big stack, and definitely like I don't know, like 2 shitty rampages and a big crash. You're like, confidence is going down.
It's tough. It's tough
for
mentally,
sure.
right? For
sure, yeah. And you've been like definitely gunning for it for. Yeah, so that's hard when you're that young too, to like start facing reality of it.
Yeah, in front of everybody, like
not
everyone there, but everyone in the world
for
watching.
Sure. For sure,
you know
that crash was everywhere. Like, yeah, that's me. Sweet.
You got to be afraid of not failing, and not afraid of failing publicly, right? You got to take risks to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
And it doesn't always work out, so.
But then if you have those, then you're like more afraid. Cause I think the next year I kind of dialed it back, just missed the seat to get into qualies. And then the next year I qualied, so that was good. That was kind of a weird year. Everything got windy and controversial. Everyone like walked off the top. And it was kind of a weird year at Rampage for sure.
Is that when Cal Straight won?
Yeah.
And they took the results from the first run only?
Yeah. And like I got top 10, but it was kind of like,
Yeah. Andre was choked because he was one of the few riders that went, and he had an amazing second run.
And that was definitely when things were like heating up. Everyone was going, and I was like, well, man, I don't know.
It's
getting heavy.
Super heavy. Yeah. Wow. So, well, at least you got a nice top to bottom there, and cross that off the list, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I think at that point, that's almost all it was like full selfish personal goal. Just like ride finals, get a clean run.
Okay, check that off the list.
Yeah. No. But it would have been nice to, you're young. It's like coming in after the older, like I was around a lot of older guys, older generation, and like probably partied too much.
It's hard not to party there.
Yeah.
You're with like all your friends and legends and, like
or
all the hardcore.
Just in life in general. You know what I mean? Like,
I got it.
You don't realize how quick you get old then. You're like, oh man.
It happens fast.
Yeah.
Time waits for no man.
I'm not even that old yet.
Yeah. But you know what they say? Growing up is mandatory. No, growing old is mandatory. Growing up is optional.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah?
I've been thinking about that lately, actually.
Yeah, it's all in your head.
Because, yeah, totally. Been kind of like, oh, I got to get home.
Until you get great cubes, and then it's not in your head
I got to
anymore.
figure my shit out, and it's like, I don't know. Has anyone got to figure it out?
Yeah, I don't know if you have to figure it out.
Yeah,
you just got to keep moving.
It's a mystery.
My grandpa said, life is like rowing your canoe in the river. If you're not going forwards, you're going backwards. So just keep going. Just keep going.
That's right.
Yeah. You were riding with Dorfling a lot, and I remember seeing a bunch of really cool shots of you and Dorfling shooting with Marcus Riga'd. And you guys would come to like places like Kamloops, and there's like great shots with Kamloops Lake in the background, and you had some epic epic shots with him. Did you ever do any long distance rides with Riga'd and get Riga'd? Have you been Riga'd? Let me put it that way. Have you been Riga'd?
Yeah, for sure.
Have you?
Out in the Chilcotins, like sleeping under a tarp.
Yeah. So those of you who don't know, Marcus Riga'd is like an endurance animal.
Legend.
We call him Raptor Riga'd.
And I gotta say with Riga'd, best guy to shoot with, because you're just moving.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you're not shooting.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, like, what, you got all these shots? Like, what?
Because he just flies around.
And he's just like, and then like once in a while you might like set a shot up, redo one, but like then all of a sudden he's great to work with.
Yeah.
Super fun guy.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So you got Riga'd out in the Chilcotins. You slept under a tarp.
Twice actually, and we did one trip with Nolly bikes, and like Ryan Bearclaw was there, Dorfling, Riga'd. We flew in actually. Did we pedal out? No, I don't even think so. We didn't. That was like pretty push, but we camped,
Yeah.
And then me and Riga'd did another one where we just like drove up, like I don't remember all the names of the drainages and stuff, but like
we're out there.
Yeah, we were out there for
1 day or 2
days,
trip?
maybe 2 days, I think.
Okay.
And we were just sleeping under a tarp.
Yeah, sleeping with the grizzly bears.
Yeah, it was great though.
Oh yeah, no, it's super cool. Yeah, you're out there and you're like.
Mark Matthews was with us too.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Nice. Yeah,
that was a good one.
He said that ride changed his life. That Mark Matthews, he said this is what I want to do, because he'd been doing slope and stuff, and he's like,
oh well, yeah, we did, like we were full on ski touring. I don't know, like maybe I can't. I don't know if you're supposed to, like, but just big, like pretty epic shot. It's pretty cool out there. Yeah, I don't know what the situation is with the riding scene out there right now.
I know that Riga'd likes to go on the edge of the park where you're allowed to.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
And the park's supposed to stay on the ridges, and then if you're not in the park, then you can do the faces.
Yeah, right.
And so he likes to go out and go everywhere, but he likes to like carve down the faces where you're out of the park.
Yeah.
And so, I'm sure you did that.
Yeah,
you heard it here first. Oh my God,
that's what we did.
Yeah. Oh, geez.
It was years ago. I don't know, but yeah, super good rides. That place is cool.
Yeah, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
He went out there, and there was just a story in Beta magazine, the new bike magazine, with all the old bike magazine guys, where him and Kenny Smith and Fraser Newton and Kevin Landry, who else? I think they went out there for 10 days.
Oh wow!
And they had they bought a bunch of food, and they set up like a camp, and then they just do day trips or 2-day trips out from the base camp.
Yeah,
that was way out there.
Yeah.
And just got
some
epic shots.
Good program.
Yeah, and just got some amazing shots, and just everyone got Riga'd for 10 days.
We should do that.
It'd be a good trip. I don't think I could do 10 days out there.
Oh yeah,
maybe I could.
Nice, comfy air mattress, little
I can't bring my e-bike for 10 days. No.
Maybe you can, solar panel.
Solar power?
We gotta have that.
One day. Yeah. When you're middle aged and I'm old, then
it's 2021. People are just going to space casually now.
Right? Yeah. Where's the tech? We just want to go smoke cones.
Yeah. I don't know. Doesn't seem that.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's funny.
But yeah.
What was the program with SR Suntour? Because before I rode for SR Suntour, I was with Marizuki, and I saw you and Dorfling were rocking the Rux Forks.
Yeah.
And I think it was Dorfling sent this huge transfer, and he snapped a pair of 888s.
Oh yeah. I remember.
And he stomped it. He had it
for sure.
But the forks failed on him, and he went down hard.
I think that was a bad year for Marizuki.
Bad year for Dorfling.
And Dorfling.
Yeah. But he had it dialed. It was a big move.
For sure.
And then the forks failed on him, and then he came back the next year with these SR Suntours. Totally. And for years, they made, low-end and mid-end stuff for a lot of bikes, sold a lot of stuff. And they were making high-end stuff for RockShox, for Fox, for DVO, for when they came around. They made stuff for everybody, and then they decided to make their own high-end stuff. And you and Dorflein were the first to jump on it, and I was the next pro riders to start rocking it. But I remember seeing you and Dorflein on it, and I'm like, well, if it works for those guys, it'll work for me. And
it's working now.
Yeah, they had to learn the ropes, but it never failed. And
totally, and always saw a lot of potential. Actually, like that was Darren Salisbury.
Yes.
And because like I had the connection because I was with Mongoose and like Steve Romanek, and we were doing that stun series and stuff. And then he started working for Suntour, and I think Romanek was kind of getting out of it, and he's like, "This is a good opportunity."
Yeah.
And that's taught, and then it just worked out. And then Dorfling, they wanted Dorfling too, and I don't know. I just like learned about the company. Obviously, it's like these guys, if they want to, they can definitely do it. Like it's a big company.
Yeah, they're one of their cross country forks sells more than all of RockShox put together.
Yeah, and
I've never had.
I knew it had a ton of potential, and like obviously they were kind of just dipping their toes. And like I think the first year, we were just on like the Duralux, and then they sent us like some Marizokis even, just like without stickers.
Yeah.
And then like they came out with the fork, but it was a process. It was definitely hard at times at the first stages, but man, it seems like it's come a long way.
Oh my God, yeah,
it's
they're
insane.
So good.
Yeah.
I've never had one fail on me ever, and they're so easy to work on.
Yeah.
They're just awesome. So,
Yeah, they had a really cool concept, and like I like the whole look of it, just like the size of the tubing.
Yeah.
Everything, the spacing.
Yeah.
It just is like,
That's
like what I want.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Mine is so plush now, and a lot of forks will creak after 2-3 months, that I understand. Like all forks pretty much, except for my SR Suntours, they never creak.
Yeah.
They're just like torsionally stiff, plush, and I don't know why they don't have a more of a following. Do people just know them?
Seems
from
like
their,
it's growing.
Well, it is growing, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're awesome. I'm super stoked. But I jumped on it because I saw you and Dorflein, and I went.
Yeah, I remember that.
And
When we went
those
skiing, and you were asking me all about it.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, we were
When we
going to
skied
go
the peanut butter.
48 centimeters at Dump at Cypress, and it was like -2, and then I'm driving up there, and I went to -1, and then to 0, and then +1, and then I was like, no. And you're in the parking lot going, dude, it's warmed up, and I'm like, I know. And we're like, should we shred anyways? And we're like, yeah, we should. So we went and shredded 48 centimeters of wet peanut butter.
Totally.
And it was awesome. It's all in your head, right?
It's always good when you're sliding and
Yeah.
rolling or whatever.
Yeah, playing on the mountain.
You got to shred the whole mountain, right?
You shred the whole mountain. I did remember a cool shoot with you and Dorflein and me, and you guys were on your bikes, and I was on my gravel board, and we did some shots for.
Oh
Riga'd.
yeah, that was cool. And remember, that was a good time.
And we did a video too, didn't we?
Yeah.
For Cheeker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good times.
Solos Productions.
Yeah.
And we went and rode a bunch of old school Counts lines, and then we went out to the gravel pits, and you guys were on the bikes, and I was on the board, and we're all carving turns, like 2 different mediums put together.
Totally.
I love that.
Totally.
Yeah, that was.
We need more of that.
Yeah. I did a shoot with Aggie too, where me and my brother were on gravel boards, and he was on his bike.
Yeah, nice.
And he didn't expect that. He was like, "Whoa, that actually." Really
I've never
worked.
tried the gravel board. Like I don't know if I'm fully sold, but like you shred, I'm blown away. Like you make it look easy.
Yeah, well, you've been doing it since '83.
Yeah, right.
better be good by now.
Damn, I gotta try. Maybe we gotta go try that one time.
Yeah, well, let's get a reunion.
Pad
We'll
up.
get Dorflein out.
Get the grizzly suit on, maybe.
No pads, and then you won't fall.
Oh yeah, right. It's like, sir, you gotta be organic, right?
No, wear pads.
Good times. Yeah, that could be fun.
Yeah, it would be good.
Nice.
You were talking about Stunned. Like, what was the history with the Stunned TV show? Because
Yeah, like
you did
that was cool actually. Like I guess, well, Kinraid and Romanek were pretty involved with drop-in, right?
Yeah.
And then like that was kind of a cool concept to do a show.
Was it the first of its kind? In that
Yeah, I think it was the first like web series in all of like sport. Like I don't know, like if I think it was like literally so like they were kind of ahead of the time. Like no one was doing a web series like that and with that kind of production. Like it wasn't super high budget, but like they definitely put their work in, like hired professionals and
yeah.
yeah, like It was cool. It was fun. It was kind of like drop-in, but like a little more like just the riders.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, like everyone, yeah. Even the filmers, we were all buddies, and like lots of fun road trips and a little bit of budget to play with, like a couple helis and stuff, you know, like it was
Perfect.
totally cool. Like,
Yeah.
it was a dream come true. But like, you know, definitely the stun crew, like sometimes like, yeah, we're leaving Monday. I don't know. It's like Friday. We're like, no, we're you know, it's a little all over the map. Sometimes like got challenging at times, but like lots of good memories, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Do you see any of those guys these days? Like, you must see Kinlock.
Yeah, like, I don't know, like, I'm living in Nakusp, kind of, right? And then, like, I live on Groman, but, like, yeah, we for sure.
Yeah.
But I haven't actually seen him in a while now.
Yeah.
But I got to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you doing in Nakusp? I heard that there's a new bike park that you're helping build. Is this a rumor? And you guys got millions of dollars budget, and then you're, like leading the trail building charge for a new bike park there?
Well, I got a little excavator. I was like, seeing what was going on in the trail building scene. I got a few gigs. I was helping a friend, Andreas Tierney, up in Valemont. He was kind of doing that project, had all the machines and stuff. And then worked a bit in like Big White. Just got on some trail crews. I don't know. I was like a little burnt on riding, and like, what am I gonna do? And then like,
Got to make money, right?
yeah, and like had some machine experience just from like renting machines for my own projects. So I kind of knew how to operate. So I kind of was like, yeah, I got experience. And next thing you know,
Fake it till you make it.
but you know, like learned a lot from all those projects and stuff. And then a bit around here with the local Rick Schneider. He's in like what's it called, like turnstiles and stuff.
Okay.
So he's like the local trail builder in town.
Okay.
So did a bit of work with him too, and then yeah, I was just like, I need to get a machine because I seen the potential in those, and like they're good money, and if you can like own one, and so kind of dropped in on that, and then the project in Nakusp came out.
Yeah.
And
Mount Albion?
Mount Abriel.
Mount Abriel.
Yeah.
And so Mount Abriel wants to build a bike park.
So yeah, they got a whole crew out there, kind of local guys, and Alex Marshall, he's kind of like fronting that crew. So they've got like their whole kind of like scene doing the hand building, and then I'm like got my machine, and they kind of let me do my thing. It's pretty sick.
Special ops Buehler,
and then they come right, like it's a super easy program, but it's like, yeah, like they're all like Kootenay boys, kind of like they want a bit of raw stuff. They don't want it like totally immaculate, like all this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so it's been super fun getting to kind of play with like some of my dream
That's
ideas.
Cool.
It's like a little mix of like you're in like the machine build, but then it's not like full jump trail. It's got like hand built mixed.
And with a bit of raw.
Yeah, and then even some steep. Is this like you gotta come check it out?
I do want to check it out.
Yeah, I think you'll have a good time.
Yeah.
And it's just it's growing, and like that town didn't really have a huge mountain bike scene. Like they had a couple trails, but
They got a little bike store.
yeah, they got a little bike store and totally. And
Cool guys.
yeah, totally. And like, I mean, people have always been mountain biking there, but like this is definitely like, there's a lot more trails now, right?
Yeah. And there's access because of the logging roads out around there, so you can get.
Well, and the up track, like that's even, I'm doing some of that too. Like I just got a little small excavator, so it builds really good up track, and that's super easy money.
Perfect.
So, and they're doing like to the top. I think it's going to be like 21K of up track.
Come on.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And then like tons of downhills from there. It's pretty wild, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of like, it's Columbia CBT.
Okay.
I think it's a lot where the money's coming from.
Yeah.
Because like all the dams and stuff that went through the Columbia River.
Yeah.
So all these communities along there were promised like grant funds and stuff, and now it's coming back, and a lot of it's going into these recreational projects. And yeah, there's just been a lot of funding in these communities, like from Valemont all the way to like Roslyn, essentially, I think, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, pretty cool. Like, it's like, man, mountain biking, especially around here, is so much more popular because of it.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane. Like, so many people own biking.
It's awesome. It's
And
good to see.
yeah, I'm like, what am I doing here? I gotta get on a bike.
How often do you get on the bike now? And
No, I do. I was riding quite a bit this year. Like some days in the machine, it can be kind of hard, or like something you know what I mean? Still kind of like running a business, kind of like I'm contracting, something breaks. It's like, I gotta deal with it. But like, I don't know. I tried a couple days a week for sure.
yeah.
There's a good like unit out there that they're shredding. One buddy, Dylan, like he's going every day. It's like, holy shit.
And working.
And working, yeah, he's a beast.
And what, night riding or what? Or just
no, days are long, right? But I don't know, like I've never been a morning person. So these, you know, I'm kind of like sometimes 9, 10 o'clock start, and then I'll work till like 6.
Okay.
And then by that time, sometimes you're like, I gotta get home and like shower and like eat. But like sometimes I gotta get the lights going.
Yeah.
But no, we do ride quite a bit for sure, and yeah.
Have you still got the send button? Like, can you still send it?
Yeah,
you still got it?
I think so. Yeah, for sure. Like, I think for sure it's there. It's just like, what do you like? I don't know. The drive sometimes, yeah. But like when I'm riding, I definitely like give her.
Yeah.
I like to play more. Like I maybe dial her, but I'm not racing. But I like to like play with it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But like definitely here sometimes like yeah, I want to send it.
Are you still like what do you use for bike now? Have you still got a
dude?
bike?
I've got one bike, Noli Delirium. I've had it for like it's crazy. I need a new bike.
Everybody want to get a new bike for Buehler, new bike for Buehler, aisle 3.
But I mean, like, it is what it is. I'm gonna get a new bike this year, but dude, that bike's sick actually. Like, I remember even talking with those guys when we were working together, and it's kind of my dream bike, really. Like, it's getting a little dated now.
Like, what was that? 170, 160?
Yeah, that's 27.5, but it's like you can build it up a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
If you mold it out, like mine's pretty Freeride built, so it's like
You
basically a DH bike. It's like modded down. It's just like heavy parts, dual crown fork, and it's like, you know.
Oh yeah, no, but you didn't make it into a mullet.
No.
Would you do that?
I would, yeah. Like, I do like the 27.5, but like, definitely I think about it lots for like riding big lines and stuff.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty cool to play with stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like mullet it down with like a big fat tire on the front, and just see how like sideways you can get.
I remember the 3.0 Gazelle.
I don't know, especially on steep stuff, it could be pretty cool.
Yeah, a lot of traction with a big front tire.
Yeah.
I saw a picture the other day of like it looked like a 3.0 Maxxis, like a proto or something. I don't know if that was true, but maybe someone was just joking around. This was Photoshop, but I was like, that'd be interesting. Because I remember the 3.0 Gazzelotti, big fat.
Oh yeah,
tire,
those were classic.
You know? And,
I don't think they make a tire that fat anymore, do they?
You know, I don't, unless it's a fat bike, but no.
Yeah, right.
I remember using the Maxxis Mobster 2.7.
Right.
And that was a beast.
That might be before my time.
Yeah, it was before your time. And people were like, dude, why are you using that? And I'm like, because it rocks.
Yeah. I like to run the Minions.
Yeah.
Just front and rear. Two
DHF.
fronts.
DHF front and back. They're classic. Dude, they just had their 20-year anniversary.
Right.
Yeah. Colin Bailey helped or designed that tire, and he was riding for Maxxis at the time, and then he gave it to them, and then they said, okay, we'll try these. And then it went on to become the most winning mountain bike race tire of all times and the most popular freeride tire of all time.
Right.
And they're still making the exact same tire 20 years later.
Yeah.
And people love it.
Yeah.
You know? DHFs front and back.
Don't fix it if it ain't broken.
Yeah, right. But you know what's interesting is he had 3 designs, and they just used the DHF design that Colin Bailey gave them.
Right.
So there's 2 other designs that he's had for 20 years that he just said to me, he goes,
He's been holding them.
maybe I should pull these out of the bag.
Yeah, right.
Be pretty interesting. I wonder what they look like.
Totally.
I got the I
Could
use
be
a
good.
Assegai now, which is like a
yeah.
DHF but just slightly bigger knobs, and they have like a row in between the center knobs and the side knobs.
Yeah, right. I'm
And-
just thinking about my tires right now. Like, I need to change my tires. Yeah, I need tires.
I got some tires for you. I'll give you some tires for coming on the podcast. They're not with me, but next time I see you or next time I come this way, or I'll send them this way. I got some tires for you.
Yeah.
27.5 DHFs. I got you.
Good stuff.
Um,
Love it.
But I got these tires from Maxxis, and the Maxxis guy, Ryan, said, meet me in the Listel hotel lobby in 10 minutes. Come alone. And I was like, okay. So I went there, and he walked in with a paper bag, and he's looking around like he's in a spy movie. Do. And he goes, test these out. Don't take any photos. Don't use them in the bike park. The only one to have these are Greg Menard, Steve Pete, and you. And I was like, oh, wow. It looks so cool right now. And I look inside, and there's these tires I've never seen before. They were the Assegai prototype. And so I used them in the North Shore night riding, and I wrote back, these are awesome. And now they're rocking. But
nice.
Greg and Petey and me were the only ones to have them to test out.
Nice.
Yeah, it felt so
That's always
cool.
good, eh?
Yeah. I know. I was like, my head was all big. My wife is like shaking her head like, oh my God, you're insufferable now. It was awesome.
That's good.
Wow. So you're
Nice.
still riding, you're building like crazy,
Oh yeah.
and you still
Yeah,
love mountain
definitely.
biking.
Still love mountain biking. Definitely, like, it's nice to just go ride.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of what I was missing. Like, filming's like it's a pretty slow process, right?
It is.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like, especially if it's like, oh yeah, it's easy to like almost, I don't know. It's hard to stay on your game if you're just like gonna go film, you know? You gotta be pretty like self-motivated.
Yeah, there's a lot of hurry up
And
and
if like
wait.
all of a sudden like friends retire, or like you're like, well, what am I, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. What are you now, 30?
I'm 30, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm only 30 though. I'm like, really? If I really...
You don't look 30, but we can remember when you did.
What do you mean?
I
How
love
old do I look?
My mom sent that to me in a birthday card. And then she wrote, I'm writing this very slowly because I know you read slowly.
Yeah, right.
Love, Mom. I'm like, I just got roasted by my mom. What?
That's awesome. That's a good one.
Yeah,
I
that's
like that.
pretty good. You know what? I was almost 30 when I did my first Crank movie. I was quite old. I was in my late 20s.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it was a late start for me.
So that's inspiration.
Yeah.
See, this is what I mean. I definitely, you know, there's definitely that side of mountain biking where like you need a vision, right? And it's not necessarily about like results and stuff. You just got to be like self-motivated enough and put all those pieces together.
Yeah.
And like as you like go through, like, I mean, I did like 15 years of it, right? And then all of a sudden like your goals almost get bigger and it's like harder to achieve them.
Because you keep stepping it up.
But like but then there's this side too where like social media is rampant and everything's like getting super saturated and you're like, how do I keep up with this when it's like my, you know, like your dreams are over here and it's like there's no funding and it's a big sell and it's like, I don't know, it's like, it's hard.
It's hard.
Yeah, there's definitely, it's cool to see some companies like TGR's doing, like it's cool when those kind of like ski movies are coming in because they've kind of like seem to maintain a bit of that culture.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I think it'd be cool to see that in mountain biking where like, yeah, people kind of honor the hard work that it is to like put a film together and like how much more creativity comes out of that when it's like a collective project that has proper funding.
Yeah, proper. Because I remember you making some edits and you had like $1,000 and then you film it and shoot it and then you're like, well, you want it to be good. So you end up putting more time into it because the weather changes or, you know.
There's so much to it, yeah.
Right?
Like,
And so how much time do you put into it when you got $1,000 or whatever, right?
yeah, like I mean, $1,000. $1,000 is nice, but you know, it goes pretty quick when you got to pay a filmer and like
Yeah.
drive around and like find progressive lines, maybe dig something for like a day. It's like
$1,000 is gone.
yeah.
Right?
Eat.
You know, it's like it takes thousands of dollars to make a good video to pay the filmers and to
For sure.
find the good property and spend enough time at it that it's,
And then there's a lot of like pretty good technology now that is pretty consumer friendly. So it's like the line between like
high quality
and like high quality amateur is pretty great. You know? Like,
Yeah.
and it's just like, you know, with like Pink Bike and social media and all these like websites that are like in mountain biking was like so entrenched in the culture that it's like pretty hard to like turn off that machine.
Yeah.
You know, like as much as I think, oh, that's what like me. But yeah, it's interesting for sure. I mean, that's just the whole world's going that way, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's on the internet, so that's where all the brands want to be.
That's where the eyeballs are.
And then nobody's like got an attention span anymore.
We have less attention span than a goldfish.
Yeah, we're doing pretty good.
Yeah. Are you still in tune? I think the people still with us are doing pretty good. We're doing better than goldfish.
Great.
Like a goldfish has
Nice
a 11-second attention span, and
Great.
people on the internet flip after 8 seconds if they didn't catch their attention span. Even quicker, probably.
Yeah.
So we
well, there's
literally
just so
have-
much. You can't.
Well, it's saturated. It's so much going on. Like
Yeah.
it's just we're inundated with information and images, and it's crazy.
maybe soon we'll just be on that, like, you know.
Just
I don't
plug
even
in.
want to, like, pick up my phone anymore. I just want to be on the hyperlink or what's
Yeah,
the
right.
name?
It's like the Matrix.
I'm just kidding. I don't want that, but it's coming.
You know what?
We're
It's
getting
nice. Like, I went out to Ritalic and there's no phone service, and so I'm out there, and it was nice to be away from the phone and just to talk with people and just to do whatever you have to do, other than surf your phone.
Totally.
It was nice. It was cool. And that's one would be nice. Like, I don't know, you might have service up in Nakusp, but you're definitely away from the city and from a lot of like big city.
It's still a town. Like, there's a hospital there. You know, there's internet.
Is there running water?
Yeah, no.
Nakusp is nice.
No, it's actually a super, like, such a funky town. It's cool place. But I'm not supposed to tell anyone. But sorry.
Nakusp socks don't go. No, it's awesome. Oh wow. Well,
but yeah, I don't know.
It's a good place. You've done a lot of cool things, and you know, you've been a pro mountain biker. You've done rampages. You've been in all the media. You're building trails for other people to enjoy. So you're giving back. That's nice. And still enjoying the ride yourself. You know. So
totally, yeah.
It's cool to see. You've had a good career, and you're still going strong. And who knows what's next? But you got the passion. You're part of the scene, and you're well respected. And
thanks, buddy. It's good to hang with you.
I'm glad you came on the show.
Yeah.
Now you know there's a tradition here on the Garett TV podcast that you got to tell a cheesy dad joke.
Oh yeah.
Before the end.
I got a joke about chemistry.
Oh yeah.
But I probably won't get a reaction. so trench the joke. Almost had it.
You know, it worked. You stuck it right at the last minute.
I'm not much for jokes.
No, it's good. You came through though. You had one for the end.
Thanks, buddy.
I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Pleasure.
Wow. Cool, man. Well, thanks for coming on the show. The one and only Garett Buehler here on the BTP. Yeah, you know me.
Cheers, bro.
Thanks, dog.
Yeah, good to hang.
Garett Buehler.